So here we are again, back by unpopular demand. And as you might have guessed from my Dark Santa outfit, I'm still busy storing up my nuts for winter, or at least for summer in South Africa. The next 3 months in South Africa are going to make my life even more complex than the last 2 months have. So I decided I'd take the last couple of days that I'm here in the UK, piling up some treasure for those few people that might appreciate it. Now, obviously, after I've been away for 2 months, the logic would suggest that what I should do is get in there and bang out some popular tunes, do the thing I said I'd never do and start doing, Rush, Tom Sawyer, and I don't know, a Nightwish song and a whole load of other things to try and bring as many people back into the fold as possible. But because I'm incredibly stubborn, and because a key point of this process, for me anyway, has to be enjoyment, I thought that I'd get really into the weeds and get into the kind of song that will be lucky if it breaks triple figures on the viewing count, but is a piece of music that I particularly like, from a lyricist that I, as you know, completely adore. But even for him, this is a sort of a deep pull. This is a track off Steve Hogarth's solo album, his Ice Cream Genius solo album from, if memory serves, somewhere around sometime in the 90s, 93 it might have been. Now, the little girl figure on this album is one that I think he probably still wears around his neck. This is, I know, a very personal and special album to him. And it always fascinated me that the man that at least a percentage of the Marillion fan base dismissed as being a bit poppy, and the pop guy, because of, I guess, Holidays in Eden to an extent, and where Steve had come from, this is not at all a pop album. There's no question Mr. H has got pop in his bag. If he finds himself in the pop distance from the hole, he can hit a pop club as well as any other club in his bag. But this album is not that. This is quite eclectic. I'm not quite sure where it sits on the spectrum, but it's full of some incredibly personal and affecting tunes. And this lyric in particular, I think it has Hogarth's customary dark, and it has Hogarth's customary style. So this is Better Dreams.
Leo drives his Mustang along Ocean Boulevard. He works hard for his money. He spent it all on his car. He rents a one-room apartment that no one's ever seen. But he makes love on the backseat to the girl of his dreams. She wears high heels and lycra, shows off her curves. She did aerobics and surgery, keep them well preserved. She thinks that this guy Leo, he seems like he's got it all. He's got a job in the business. He says he'll make a few calls. He's got friends in high places. All he has to do is phone. She bites her lip as he takes her. He makes love like he's alone. He'll break the bad news to the angel in the morning.
So, the man that wrote about 100 Nights and male prostitutes passing husbands on the stairs, the man that wrote about potential serial killers collecting photographs of familiar places and unfamiliar girls, wrote this incredible little, what would you call it, a vignette? A character study, a short story. It's all of those things. It's a little piece of James Ellroy. It's a study in people and character and texture and flavor of a particular place. And if you've got any sense at all of how the grubby side of the film industry, if you've spent any time at all looking at what Harvey Weinstein got up to, or any of the other sort of stories that relate to the casting couches and the couches and the influence peddlers, this is a redolent story of Hollywood, the seedy, steamy side of Los Angeles. This man who drives a Mustang, tells the world how hard he works for his money, buys an expensive car, in private lives a quiet, shitty life, but presents and fronts like he's an important guy and represents that he can help this wannabe girl in her high heels and lycra, who does her aerobics and surgery. He represents to this girl that he's got contacts in the business and he can help her out. He's going to make a call. And then that image, he makes love to her in the back seat. He makes love like he's alone. She bites her lip as he takes her. He makes love like he's alone. What a haunting, sad, sorry image that is. He's making love in the back seat of his expensive car. And he's doing it like he's alone. And she's biting her lip. Because this is purely transactional in a grubby, seedy part of the world. I mean, what a beautiful piece of storytelling. We've talked about in the past about how fish can paint pictures of particular places and time. It was a wedding ring destined to be found in a cheap motel. This is exactly that same kind of storytelling. And I mean, maybe it's because I'm kind of in the business, but it just punches me in the soul every time I hear it. Leo's an asshole.
He'll break the bad news to the angel in the morning. He takes the car to the car wash when the shine goes away. He leaves her smudge-eyed and stranded. It's a beautiful day.
So the way this track is structured, that almost reads like a coda. We get this beautiful sort of oboe-infused bridge. And then we get this coda of the man taking his car to the car wash. When the shine goes away, is it the shine going away on the car, or is it the shine going away on the girl that he had on the back seat? That girl that he's leaving smudge-eyed. She got the bad news in the morning and stranded. But it's a beautiful day. It's Los Angeles. It's palm trees and Beverly Hills Cop and that fantastic angle up into the passing palm trees, right? Hogarth talks in the intro of this track, on the only version of this that's available on Spotify, about going to Los Angeles and finding it astonishing and amazing as a young man, and then going again and finding it grim and horrific. And I think it's probably both of those things, and I think he captures both sides of that to an extent in this song, but it's definitely, there's a sense of where he comes down, and it's that seedy side of the world. It's that influence peddling. It's that world where everybody lies and everybody fronts and everybody pretends and nobody is honest with anybody and everybody's trying to work an angle. I think this is a phenomenal piece of social commentary wrapped around an incredible piece of storytelling.
Beautiful day. There's a man in the valley he met on Ocean Way. He's got everything Leo dreams. He's got a yacht in the bay. Leo drives down to see him with an idea or two to make him big in the business, turn the lies into truth. But the car don't need messing, 'cause the man's worldly wise. He sees the white teeth and the suntan. There's nobody inside.
So look at that. Storytelling. The world of jokes is populated with the idea of people that spend their lives having to listen to arseholes talking shit in bathrooms in the vain hope they might sell them a line of cocaine or give them a line of cocaine, of having to tolerate arseholes because of what you can get from them. And Leo is both one of those arseholes and is pursuing one of those arseholes. But as you get higher up the food chain, the expensive car doesn't mean anything to the man on the yacht, nor does the white teeth and the suntan when everybody's got one. And I suspect we all know when someone's got nothing inside, right? I suspect that's part of the problem, is that more and more people have got nothing inside. And I'm going to say it again. This is an album, this is a song on an album by the pop guy, the new singer and pop guy that came into Marillion. I find nothing poppy about this track. It's a very, very gentle, subtle, challenging piece of music. It ain't pop.
There's nobody inside.
Quite beautiful, like the Moody Blues.
I'm a guest of this city. I'm by the pool on the roof. Poolside is pretty. You can feel the earth move. This is a town full of Leos. The sun shines on the cars, and the buses of tourists do the horns of the stars.
So this is what Hogarth does a lot. he'll write some very specific storytelling and paint a picture and tell a story, and then within that he'll insert himself, not necessarily as part of the story, but as the man who created the story, with the forces and the thoughts that crafted that story. And again, what a lovely picture. He talks about how as a young man he goes to Hollywood, he goes to LA, he goes to LA as an older man. But in all the times that Steve Hogarth will have visited LA, he'd have gone there as Steve Hogarth, the lead singer, the guy from Marillion. He'll have gone there surrounded by Leos to an extent, not in the film business, but there are Leos in all of these entertainment businesses. He'll have gone there into a booked hotel, into a nice place. He'll have been traveling within that rock and roll bubble. So he'll have been at the poolside. He'd have got to be presented with at least a version of that Hollywood American dream. But he's looking at it and he's seeing through the veneer. He's seeing past the suntans and the sun cream and the pretty poolside. I mean, what a lovely line. You can feel the earth move. Those tectonic plates in Los Angeles are more than just physical things, I think. And he could feel like he was in a town full of Leos in expensive cars on which the sun was shining. And a town where people are driving around looking at other people's homes as if they are touring the... what's the home of the gods? Olympus. As if they were touring Olympus. Now that'd be an interesting thing. The bus tour into Olympus. People stopping outside Zeus's house to take a selfie. And then we get, I guess, into the coda, into the social commentary that elevates this song from being an incredible piece of storytelling and a personal tale into a thing that was relevant when it was written in the mid-90s. And if anything, on a day when Mark Zuckerberg lost something like $26 billion in value because of a bad news blip in his personal world, $26 billion in value lost by one human being. On that day, this coda, well, it's certainly no less relevant.
And the buses of tourists do the horns of the stars. Hotel California goes around in my head. And the folks who are loaded keep a gun by the bed. But you can't help but notice the poor wind up dead. And the kids on the east side watch the cars going by. They never could have if they worked all their lives. Take a gun and go shopping. Use a drug for the pain.
In the transfer of the lyrics, I've lost the last bit, but we'll get to it. I want to come back to this first. Hotel California goes around in my head. We all know that song. You can check out, but you can never leave. That's not a happy song. It's not a cheerful song. It's not celebrating the California existence. And I can understand entirely how that song would be going around your head if you were having these thoughts. A fantastic play on words here. I mean, clever, pithy. The folks who are loaded keep a gun by the bed. Loaded and gun, fantastic contrast. But you can't help but notice the poor wind up dead. And the kids on the east side. Now, I'm not entirely sure if the east side of LA is is part of that part of the world. I'm going to take Mr. Hogarth's word for it. But the kids on the east side watch the cars going by they never could have if they worked all their lives. And then the last lyrics are coming, and we'll try and remember them when we get to them.
Take a gun and go shopping. Use a drug for the pain, and the pain goes away. It's a beautiful day.
Take a gun and go shopping. Take a drug for the pain, and the pain goes away for the pain. And the drug goes away. But take a drug for the pain, and the pain goes away. It's a beautiful day. Something like that. I mean, it's just grim. I messed up this transfer of lyrics, I'm afraid. The lyric page I usually use doesn't even have this lyric. Spotify doesn't have this album. It is a deep, deep, deep pull. If we make 40 views, it'll be a lot, and I don't care.
God bless these starward streets, shine on these perfect days, stretch out on Venice Beach. Can we dream better dreams than these?
God bless these star-worn streets. Let's get that again.
These starward streets, shine on these perfect days.
Shine on these perfect days.
Stretch out on Venice Beach. Can we dream better dreams than these?
Stretch out on Venice Beach. Can we dream better dreams than these? I mean, another one of those themes I feel for what we talk about here. Some sort of equality, some sort of rationality, some sort of repudiation of capitalism red in tooth and claw. Mr. Hogarth went to California, and as Hotel California rolled around in his head, he took a look around, and he saw sunlight, sunshine and shiny cars, and shiny teeth and fake tans and real tans and Leos everywhere. And he asked if we could dream better dreams than these. And I got to be honest, he ain't wrong. I don't disagree with him. I think this is an amazing piece of music. I don't even know if it's a song. I don't know what qualifies as the difference between a piece of music and a song. This is an amazing piece of music off a really, really interesting album, a really, really unique little slice into Mr. Hogarth's life. And I apologize for messing up the transfer of the lyrics. I've only been doing this for a couple of days. You'll have to forgive me. Ice Cream Genius. I'm not even sure how you'd go about hearing the album if you don't own it, like I do, because it's not even on Spotify as far as I can tell. Mr. H's, Steve Hogarth, he performs some of these songs live on his Naked album, and there's one version of that on Spotify. Take a listen. If you don't like Marillion, you might find you like him. If you like Marillion, you might find you like him. Or you might just find you like him. Personally, I think he's an amazing singer and an absolutely incredible writer. And I will never, ever stop loving his lyrics. Anyway, thanks for watching. As Mr. H once wrote, keep the faith.